from BBC Trending. Good to have you with us, Anne-Marie. I mean, David Beckham's very popular anyway. He has, I don't know how many did I just say, followers?
Over 10 million followers
More than
on
10
Instagram.
million followers. Interesting that he's reacting as a parent now.
This is really interesting because it's a break away from what he normally uses his Instagram feed for. So if you go through his timeline, you can see that most of the images that he's sharing are of him with his friends and family, the sport, doing his work, and, you know, it's not really to do with how the media is covering him. But what makes it different is that he's taking the opportunity to speak back. And I find it really surprising in a lot of ways, because the Beckhams have been watched with a forensic lens for so many years.
But they've been pretty private as well, haven't they? About their marriage and about the children. They've decided which announcements they've put out there when, you know, pregnancies and birthdays. But other than that, they've sheltered their children pretty much and not spoken too much about them in their personal lives.
They're extremely careful about what they post on social media. So if you look at Victoria Beckham's Instagram page, a lot of it has to do with her work and her collection of clothes, the latest line she's working on. She'll show some of the behind the scenes, some of her team that she's working with, but very little about their actual personal lives, which you can understand because they have a huge following. So it's a breakaway, and for him to speak so frankly, you'd imagine the reason why is because it's getting personal. If they're talking about him, fine, but if they start talking about his children, it's another matter.
Isn't that just something that celebrities have to deal with? Isn't that just a fact of life? You put yourself out there, they accept that there's going to be criticism. Everyone who's on Twitter has been, you know, abused at some point or, you know, had a nasty comment. Don't you just let it go?
I think celebrities now are a lot more connected with their audiences. So while they're very careful about how they manage themselves and they have a management team, because they have this device to hand, you can't be controlled at every minute of every day. And so the audience feels more connected to them because they're following them on social media, and they feel that bit more connected too. And so there will be moments when they make that decision to maybe break the rule that they might normally have set for themselves and hit back. And there are countless examples of celebrities doing this.
Go on then.
So I just had a cursory look online before coming on air here, and I could already see shed loads of different people hitting back at their critics, not always the media, but at a glance I noticed Lily Allen. She's obviously hugely active on social media, and she's had so many moments over the years where she's been really personal, shared a lot of her details of her life, and then decides to completely abstain from social media altogether. But one incident that where she hit back was when Katie Hopkins criticised her and her baby weight, and she took this personally and took the opportunity to speak very frankly back to her, some language of which I won't broadcast here.
Best not.
And Lady Gaga. So it's not just, you know, stars in the UK, these are international names. Lady Gaga has used her Twitter page to respond to people who have criticised her weight. So people had observed that she'd put on some weight, and she tweeted back to a lot of her followers saying, you know, that she feels like she's being judged every day of the week and that she would rather be fat than be shallow. And so at the time that this was happening, she'd also posted on her Instagram page, I love this, it was a picture of herself wearing a nude bikini or a nude swimsuit. She looked fantastic. So, you know, she looked amazing. And it was just to say, I'm proud of my body. Maybe she had put on a bit of weight, but it doesn't matter. You know,
absolutely, absolutely. And no one should be judged.
Yeah, exactly. Judgment is the key thing here,
yeah.
I think. This is what this is all about.
Right.
It's really about being judged. And in the cases that I found this morning, it was about women being judged most of the time for their physical appearance. And in this case, man, David Beckham is being judged for his parenting style. It
reminds me actually of what J.K. Rowling said when Serena Williams was being criticised very heavily at Wimbledon. It also makes me wonder about, though, is if the newspapers are actually getting something out of this. If the Daily Mail publishes this article critical of David Beckham, now, there have been countless articles published by all the tabloids, the broadsheets included, you know, about the Beckhams.
Coverage.
Does this now set a new precedent? Because actually, this isn't bad for the Daily Mail. People are going to go online or go and get a copy of the paper to find out what's being written.
Absolutely. So when you look at even the number of comments and shares of this article on the Daily Mail alone, the article itself has been shared 10,000 times, and there have been over 1,000 comments, many of them defending David Beckham. But I'd imagine the Daily Mail isn't overly concerned about that. at the end of the day, this has increased their engagement with their own following and with new audiences too. And on David Beckham's Instagram feed alone, there have been 18,000 comments about this story. So people know about it. I think it's 579,000 likes on the story too. It's a huge amount. Yeah. So,
and funnily enough, the Daily Mail's just written an article on David Beckham fighting back at the Daily Mail, criticising David Beckham's parenting of Harper Lee. It's been quite fascinating to look at it, and quite interesting to see how they're going to battle against each other in the future, I think.
Well, you know what I learned from reading this article? I learned about the term pacifier. I didn't know what a pacifier
was.
Dummy,
yeah, it's an American version of a dummy, isn't it? Anne-Marie, thanks very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much for your comments on social media. Nothing too awful, I'm pleased to say. Jenny.